Okay, so we're all set. Again, greetings to everyone. My name is Eleanor Estachio from the Member and Component Relations team. Once again, we welcome you to the bi-monthly Global Leaders Call, and thank you so much for joining us. Just a couple of housekeeping reminders, please, before we start. Please put your phones on mute instead of on hold to minimize sound. And if possible, please also call from your landline instead of from your cell phone. So let's start by having a quick roll call on who joined us, please.
This is Joanne Lane with Mid-Atlantic.
Hi.
Out in Toronto.
Hi
This
there.
is Katie Emmett with Mid-Atlantic Membership Committee.
Thank you.
Gordon Hill, Chicago.
Thanks.
Dan Albrecht, Chicago.
Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Angela from the Central Europe chapter.
Hi there.
Andrew Latimer from Ohio, Kentucky.
Hey, Andrew.
JJ
Morning,
Williams,
Eleanor.
Hi.
Southwest chapter.
Thank you.
Morning, Eleanor. Brian Crockett here.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Carla Tucker-Smith from Colorado.
Hey, Carla.
Hey. Candy
Hey,
Barrow
Eleanor.
from Colorado.
Phil Roberts from Northern California.
Hi.
How are you?
Dan Ellman, Connecticut, Westchester.
Hi, Dan.
How you doing, Eleanor?
I'm fine, thank you.
Shafali Gori, Midwest chapter.
Oh, hi, Shafali.
Hello. Candy Barrow from the Colorado chapter.
Hi.
Tommaso Trinchieri from Southern California.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. This morning, our CEO, Angela Kane, is with us to give us some updates. Angela?
Yes, hi. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all of you on the call. I asked Eleanor just to have a few minutes on the agenda before I hop on the airplane. Just wanted to touch base with you on a few things. We've got a lot of things going on, and it's just nice to be able to connect with so many of you in one shot when we can. So I wanted to tell you a few quick things. First, the board remains very committed to continuing, as we have done each year, to do outreach with our chapters around the world. We look to our board members to try to reach out to chapter leadership at least once throughout the year, whether they're right in your own backyard and are located where your chapter is, or if their travels take them to where you are. We try to encourage them to attend a chapter event or arrange to have a cup of coffee or a lunch meeting or something like that with your leadership, just to keep a good dialogue going on what's going on at the chapter level, what's going on at the global level, and how we can continue to partner together. So if there are any events or things that are of particular interest where you want to make sure that you have board engagement or participation from myself or anyone else from our senior leadership team, let your relationship manager know so that we can start to plan those out and build this fiscal year out. But I know that it's been tremendously helpful to me to have that two-way dialogue going at a strategic level, so encourage that. If there's anything that you need or want for me to attend or meet with your leadership about, talk through some of our global strategic priorities, attend an event, let me know. We also have a couple of people on our senior team who also do some presentations that are available to your chapters about our 2020 research project and also about our broader strategic priorities. Second thing I wanted to tell you is we had a very successful previous fiscal year that ended on March 31st. A variety of things have gone on in that past year and great things that we want to share. So we have produced an annual report that is going to print very shortly that we'll be distributing out to the membership. And then the board will be holding a general membership meeting webinar just to kind of walk through some of those successes and future priorities. We hope to schedule that in June, but the date has not yet been set. We will try to coordinate with all of you so we don't conflict with any big events that you're holding, but we will hold it and record it in a couple of time frames. Wanted to tell you that we're very excited about the leadership event that we just held in New York City. It was a new concept for us to focus on some of the softer skills, education, bring in some high-end speakers, very positive evaluations, very positive feedback from our contributors, and it was a big twist for us in having about 68% end-user participation at an event. This is something that we hope to replicate. We do still reserve that spring time frame to continue to do an event such as that, but we will also roll off some smaller spin-off events, including the vertical market focus we did in those Meeting of the Mind sessions on banking and financial institutions and biopharma life sciences. We'll take some other vertical market segments and bring those sessions around the world. So would love to partner with your chapters on those when we come and try to coordinate things in your necks of the woods. So we look forward to working with you on that as we continue to roll out that plan. In terms of our global summits, I think we're off to a great start with our global summit in Amsterdam. I just came back from visiting with our 4 chapters in Europe. Thank you to those of you who are on the call for making it easy for me to visit with all 4 of you in the same week. Lots going on across Europe that's gearing up for the Amsterdam Summit. I think it's a beautiful venue and location for that event. In terms of the Las Vegas Summit, we have changed our format a bit, going to that one North American Summit model. Part of it we've changed given the fact that we're in Las Vegas. You have to shift the pattern so that Saturday is not a peak arrival day. Sunday will be the peak arrival day. We have extended the conference at member request to add more time for networking and content. So there will be 2 nights available for private entertaining instead of 1 night because there's always such competition to do that amongst all of our key contributors. And we're also building in, as you know, that anchor event on the last night, that recognition dinner, where we want to be able to fully recognize all of the great members who do such great work on behalf of the organization and on behalf of their businesses. And then the new awards that will be a part of that are the Corporate Real Estate Executive of the Year Award and the Chapter of the Year Award. I know that Brian Crockford is on the line, who is the chair of the CLC. He'll talk a little bit more about those awards later on in the program. But really counting and hoping I can thank you in advance for you supporting that event and supporting it through the awards. It's going to take some doing to get this off the ground and running in this first cycle of a new model. So really look forward to the leadership that Brian Crockford brings to this. He's certainly brought a new energy and enthusiasm to the Component Leaders Council and to our board, and he's been a great champion of this global awards program. So I wanted just to take a minute to thank him. Moving on quickly, you know that we have changed our knowledge community model. We are off and running with that. The Knowledge Advisory Panel members have been selected. That's been posted and announced on our website and in the media. I believe the Wall Street Journal picked up that coverage. Those groups are in the process of scheduling their first meetings. We did hire a new senior researcher. His name is Craig Van Pelt, who will help lead that effort. And we look forward to the work product that comes out of those communities. My final note is the one that I'm perhaps most excited about. I wanted to announce a promotion amongst our senior team. Kathleen Beekman, who many of you know as the Director of Component Relations for EMEA, has been promoted to our VP of Component Relations around the world. And so all of our relationship managers globally will now be working with Kathleen, and she will have oversight for that team and will help drive, good synergy and communication and collaboration amongst all of our components. So Kathleen is on the call, and I would just turn it over to her to say a few words. Kathleen?
Thank you, Angela. Thank you very much, and I can say I'm very pleased with this new role. I really look forward to working with the chapter leaders globally. I know the chapter leaders in EMEA well, but I look forward to getting to know you all much better and working with you. I know your relationship managers are your first point of contact, but in any case, if you wish to contact me on certain matters, discuss things that you would like to raise with me, please do send me an email. I'm available, and yes, I look forward to working with you. So very pleased about it.
So thanks again to Kathleen. With that, I know I've rambled on for a bit. I just wanted to hit a few highlights with you while I had you all together. Any questions or comments that you have for me before I hop on an airplane? I've clearly put everyone to sleep. That's what I'm prone to do. Well, at any rate, I thank you for your time. And if you think of anything or have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email or call me. My email is akane@cornetglobal.org. I'll give you my cell phone number, 404-645-4212. That's 404-645-4212. If you think of anything or have any further questions, happy to visit with you and chat with you. And thanks again for all you're doing on behalf of Cornet Global at the chapter level. We appreciate all of your engagement. I'll turn it back over to you, Eleanor.
Thank you, Angela, and have a good flight back.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so next on the agenda is an update on membership and just sharing from our Director of Member Services, Kathy Godwin.
Hello, I'm just going to run through my slide real quick because David Mercurio is with us and he has a lot more to discuss than I do. Anyway, I'm very, very pleased that we are currently at 6,850 members. Our goal for the end of May was 6,735. Larry and I have goals set for each month, and so we've almost gotten to the end of our June goal. So we're tracking ahead a little bit, which makes me happy because I know it'll slow down in the summertime. We are fully engaged with a new membership marketing company. We are getting ready to deploy. We're gathering and putting artwork together for our first acquisition that will be deployed June 20th. We have pulled together lists from our database that include expired members and prospects that total 40,000 people, and we're just going to reach out to them in 3 different hits during June and July. The offer that they're going to receive, it's a letter from Angela, plus the offer they're going to receive is if they pay for their membership in 2014, they'll get the remainder of 2013 complimentary. We are also just at the very beginning of putting together an indispensability and needs assessment survey. In the past, we have always surveyed our members, but we are taking a different approach, and we're going to survey our members and our prospects. What makes us indispensable to you, and what do you need from those 2 different groups, and then we'll be reporting that back. We just are in the very early stages of even looking at that, so that probably won't go out until this fall. And we're working with them to make improvements on our membership renewal campaign for this coming year. I want to also remind you that the Join and Attend promo for Las Vegas changes July 1st. If someone does join and attend the summit, they get an 18-month membership. I think that would be a good opportunity for you also to promote within your chapter and at events as they come up. And that's my update.
Thanks, Kathy. Do we have any questions for Kathy? Good. Thank you. So next, may I present our IT Director, David Mercurio, who's going to give us updates on the microsite new features and best practices. David.
Hello, everybody. So just to give you an overview, all of our component sites, chapters, and special interest groups and communities use the HigherLogic microsite. HigherLogic is the manufacturer of the product that hosts this SaaS model. solution for us, and they just did a release of their new version. They're working with our webmaster now, Carly Barber, to go through the process and move us all over to the new, to add in the new features. This is going to take a little bit of time, so it'll take another month. We expect it to be completed around the end of June. It's going to fix some of the style problems that we have with the websites themselves. Any of the people that actually work on the websites and update the content will know what I'm referring to as some of the issues that they have. So most of those issues, or all of them, should be resolved. It's going to increase, the new features will allow you guys more flexibility with how you lay out the site, fonts, colors, some of those types of things. Obviously, as long as we stay in a general branding guidelines, we'll have a lot more flexibility on the sites themselves to make them look a little bit more the way everybody wants to try and make them look, and make the changes and updates to them as needed. We're gonna actually migrate the sites over to the new system. So we'll do that work and work with the manufacturer to do that work. And then after that, we're going to send out, or during that, we're going to send out a document that outlines the Cornet Global logos, the colors, and some of the required content. There's a few pages that we'll have that'll be under About Us, that'll speak to Cornet Global, separate from the actual chapter pages, and they won't be obtrusive, but it'll just be general information for the folks that only hit the chapter sites and the component sites that actually go out there and don't actually end up going to the main global site. We're going to start the updates around the end of May. We're working on some of the tests now to verify everything's working, and then we should have that completed around the end of June. Nothing existing will change. The features will be added in there. There may be a slight change in location, and when I mean slight, no one will really notice, except if you do web stuff for a living. And then we'll put the standard documents out, and branding documents out on the leadership library. We're going to put our webmaster is going to put several other items out there that aren't out there today, how-tos on some of the new features and some of the things you can add to the pages that people aren't aware of now, and outline those types of things. Now I'm going to go on to the best practices. We ran into a situation over the past few weeks where an image was on one of the component sites. That image was downloaded from a public site with no copyright on it, and it looked to be free and usable by anybody. But in reality, we were contacted by an attorney. The photo that was put on the chapter site was borrowed from a site that didn't have the right to post it on that site without copyright. And so therefore, that attorney established the copyright on the photo that was actually on the site. So we, Cornet Global, had the photo removed, and we were fined, and we had to pay the fine. So the law is pretty clear on that. It's a violation that's a liability violation. And if we're using any images or text or content that's copyrighted or we don't have approval to use, the penalties are statutory and the fines are pretty high. And innocent mistakes, even though we said and justified to the lawyers, and we brought our lawyers in and explained that, we took it from a site that didn't have it copyrighted and it looked like general and public content, that's not actually a defense in law. So we still paid the fine and still removed the image. So basically, any material that's on any sites needs to be removed if we're not absolutely certain that it is approved material for public use or copyrighted by us, or specifically, we went out and took the photos, or the chapters went out, components went out and took photos at some of their events and put them up. That stuff's fine. But Google searching or Yahoo searching for images for sites or pictures or whatever and putting those on websites, we can't guarantee that those are actually available for public use. So it's highly recommended not to use anything that you find or search on. So basically anything that's out there now, please review your sites. Remove anything in question that you're not sure whether we can use it or not. And then if you need any images, either take the photos yourselves or making sure that the images that you're using are actually public content type stuff. And obviously, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, need any clarity on it, you can send an email to webmaster@cornetglobal.org, or by going to our website under the Contact Us, you can pull up either my name, David Mercurio, or our webmaster, Carly Barber, and you guys can send us any questions you have whatsoever. We'd be glad to talk to you on the phone, through email, or whatever works for you guys. So we're going to send out an email. Most likely Carly will send the email out that'll outline some of this information for everybody, including the folks that weren't on the call today. Keep them all posted on the information and just cover all the stuff that I talked about. So that's about it for me. Does anybody have any questions for me? Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, David. So next up, we have an update from the Component Leaders Council Chair, Brian Crockford. He's going to give us an update on the Global Awards program and the CLC. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, Eleanor, I am on my mobile phone. Despite the request, I don't actually have a landline, so I'm sorry about that, and hopefully you can hear me okay.
Again, thank you, Brian.
All right, great. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk on today's call. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to see and read through the email that I sent out my time yesterday evening. What I wanted to do and what I briefly want to do today is just to reinforce something that Angela as well mentioned at the start of the call, and largely to encourage everybody to participate and get involved with the two new awards that we've launched, and Angela mentioned, being the Global Corporate Real Estate Executive of the Year Award and the Chapter of the Year Award. Now, both of these new awards were products of the last committee, the last CLC, the last term that we served. So I worked with the chair last year and the committee members to put these two new awards into place. And initially, we're really pleased with the response that we've received. We did indicate that we need all the chapters to confirm whether you're going to submit by the end of this month. And we've had a fantastic response rate so far. So just want to spend this bit of time really saying to everybody on the call that perhaps hasn't yet considered making an application, to encourage you to do so. This is the first year, obviously, that we're running these two new awards. As Angela mentioned, there are some changes to the format of the Global Summit. And as a result of the changes to the Global Summit, we've created this gala evening at the end of the summit, which will be an awards and recognition evening.
As you can see on the screen, that we've received most of your chapter representatives for the CLC, but there are a few chapters who have not designated their representatives, so please email your name of your rep to me as soon as possible, please. We had an orientation call on May 1st and May 2nd. That was outside North America. So as Brian said, we are very excited about the enthusiasm of the chapters to participate in these two global awards. So if you have any questions, please let us know. either by email or, just call us, and we'll be very happy to answer. Okay, so next we come to the best practice section. We're very pleased to present Anki Gerlach, the VP of Membership of Central Europe Chapter, to share their best practice on member retention. Anki?
Yes. Thank you, Eleanor. Can you move to the next slide? So I would like to share with you what we had done to achieve a very high membership retention. So we started in mid-January 2013 to send out personal letters to our members from our president, and we were looking, so who is a native German speaker or English. So we did it in two ways, which we thought is more personally, and to all of them who have not yet renewed their membership. We attached as well, to make it a little bit easier for them, a membership form and as well the link for the renewal. And as well, that's a lot of work, but it really came up at the end that it was good to stay in direct contact with the members. And as well, I provided a lot of help in online renewing, because this was a lot of issues, or as well when they had invoice problems. As well, we sent out an email reminder after 4 weeks with a different wording, and what we achieved is then the 89% of the membership retention, which I think is a great achievement when we started into the new year. But as well, when you do things, you learn things out of it. So maybe, Eleanor, you would like to go to the next slide? Yeah, what have we learned out of that? We realized that a lot of members had problems with the renewal link, or even that they received the email from Coordinate Global in their spam filters. So this was a big issue, because a lot of members came back and were saying, I didn't have a link, I didn't get the email. What we realized as well is that for this year we need to start much earlier, so already in October. And we decided as a chapter that we are going to receive all the invoices up front, which we will sending out directly to our members, as well with a personal letter. And that gives us more time for the follow-up, and we are able to provide for the renewal process a more personal service to our members. Any questions from you? I assume that's a no, and then thank you very much for giving me the time to share with you our practice.
Thank you so much, Anki. It's a lot of things that you've done, and that's really good. You achieved 89% retention, so thank you.
Thanks.
So the next chapter to share best practice on member retention is our Singapore chapter, and we have my colleague Tracy, who's the director of Southeast Asia. Tracy?
Hi, yes. Thank you very much. We'll talk about our membership retention. I thought we were doing really great at 86% until I heard Anki say they've got 89%. So there's a little competition there now.
For next year, Tracy.
Okay, we'll have to keep in contact, do an Asia, European, EMEA competition going. So, but anyway, so what I want to talk about, the member retention, some of it goes into recruitment as well, with some of the strategies that we use. But our total membership currently today stands at 223, which we did have a high of 260 last year. You can see our EU to SP breakdown ratio. The Singapore chapter has done so well this last year. We've had an increased growth in our membership of 63%. And I think, I was very pleased to see that we've got a retention rate of about 86%. And so the next slide, I'll talk about some of the plans and things that we did this year. Going back to what Anki said, we sent out personal emails to our members as well. We did it a little bit later than what they did. I think January is probably a good time to do it, but we started in 1st March with the personal contact from our chapter chair. But just kind of starting up at the top here, this is probably more of a recruitment strategy, but we really utilized and had some good response from the join in and attend promotional rate that we used at our symposium as well as our summit that we held in Asia. We always send welcome emails to all our new members. In terms of retention measures, we like to call our members at least once a year, try and touch base with each of them once a year, just to kind of glean satisfaction levels, value adds, anything else that we can get from them that would add value to their membership. And then, of course, always, encouraging them to renew and reminding them to renew. We send out follow-up emails and phone calls, if possible, to our non-members that have been attending events, especially if they attend more than one event but still have not joined as a member. Our pricing strategy, I think, really helped from a recruitment as well as a retention standpoint. We increased rates in March. Once everyone fell off the grace period in February, that's when we started getting a lot of calls about, I thought I was a member, when they tried to register online for different events. And we upped the rate quite significantly for non-members. And that actually did turn over quite a few renewals because people, one, didn't realize they renewed, thought they had renewed, just forgot about it. I think people tend to kind of click out of CoreNet emails sometimes, or like Anki was saying, they go to spam filters and that sort of thing. So our pricing strategy, I think, really helped to kind of recognize the difference between the benefit between being a member and non-member. We hold a new member reception every year. We've got one planned at the end of this month. Of course, at every chapter event, we discuss briefly about the benefits of membership and encourage those, especially in the front of the year. We're reminded all of our members to renew their membership. At the actual chapter event, we had staff, the administrator on site to where we could take renewals or discuss renewals with them and help facilitate that. And then, like I said, in March, the beginning of March, we sent out, once we realized, who had not renewed, we sent out, the chapter chair sent out a personal email to all of those, and we did generate some renewals from that as well. Some opportunities, if you go to the next slide. Opportunities that we're considering for both recruitment and retention this coming year that I think are good opportunities to help improve that are quarterly or maybe just, once or twice a year, get to know the resources calls for our members. There's a lot of resources, the Knowledge Center online, a lot of resources that the members don't fully utilize. And we learn that through our one-to-one member calls that we do throughout the year. We kind of ask them what sort of resources they use. Are they, taking advantage of all the member benefits? And so we can kind of determine what we need to focus on. During the symposium, we're considering hosting a new member orientation, kind of an interactive breakout session, or maybe a session before, like a night before our big day-long symposium for new members as well as prospects, non-members. Just, again, orientating them to CoreNet Global, making them feel special, getting them involved. For new members as well, we do, like I said, we send out a new member welcome letter for every new member that we get, but again, follow-up calls I think are important and kind of can funnel into our membership calls that we do throughout the year. Some other recruitment strategies, just having a good end-user engagement program, inviting end-user prospects free of charge to different chapter events, and then we're also considering a member get member campaign, kind of an incentive for the members to bring along a colleague, and hopefully we can recruit them into the chapter. Again, it was a combination of retention as well as recruitment, but a lot of the strategies that we used this past year really helped improve by the growth that we witnessed over the course of the year. Are there any questions regarding our program?
I have a question, Tracy. What type of incentives do you have for your member get member campaign?
Conference call, and I'm writing down the directions to your place.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's still considered more. It's still under consideration, I guess I should say. We discussed it at one of our strategic planning meetings at the beginning of the year. We're still kind of looking into that without it being too cheesy. If that's not a bad word to say, but I think incentives in terms of admission to, say, free registration to symposiums or, discounted learning programs or something, related to CoreNet that we can offer and get them involved with. And then you could always just give away an iPad.
Yeah. For the grand prize. Well, thank you, Tracy.
Okay,
we also... Yeah, well, we do realize that it's almost midnight your time, so it's bedtime for you, and so we thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, there are no questions for our Singapore chapter. Let's go to the next, the last item in the agenda. Our next Global Leaders Call for the rest of 2015, we will have, next one is in July 17th, and September and November. Also, watch your email for announcement of our chapter challenge at the Las Vegas Summit.
Yep. Eleanor, if I can interrupt you there for a second, this is Kathleen. We are currently in the process of putting this program together. So if you have any input or feedback to share with me in terms of the chapter challenge improvements we can make or whatsoever, please feel free to send me an email. For those of you who are not familiar with my email is kbeekman@corenetglobal.org. So feel free to drop me an email if you have any thoughts or ideas. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you. And so recently we've had a few confusion between the Global Component Leaders Call and the Component Leaders Council Call. So we thought to clarify, we will, moving forward, we will call this bi-monthly call Global Leaders Call, just to differentiate it with the, Component Leaders Council, because the acronym is almost the same. So, okay, so if there are no more questions, we'll speak to you again on July 17th. And again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.